Oh, you almost had it. You got to be quicker than that.
Happy Halloween, Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen. It is Halloween. It's the spooky part of the season. We get to dress up. I, of course, am going as a Joe-lantern. I tried to think of something that was like rhyming with jack-o'-lantern or a playoff, but if I say Joe-o'-lantern, it just sounds like I'm having a seizure. A large orange spherical object, it's when you're fat, you can pull those things off. Death Star, things like that, If you're watching me on a big screen, I'm probably the largest, brightest thing in the room. If you're just listening on the car, turn it up, get something to drink, take the candy that your kids worked so hard and were so excited, and that you took the time and the money to put them in a costume to get from other people so you could steal from them and eat a third of it while we go over what was week 8 and preview what is coming in week 9. Real quick, like and subscribe. You know the drill. Hope you're here. I hope you're coming back. If you're new, welcome. Get us out there. Let everyone know. But we have got a lot to cover. I'm not going to waste any time. It being Halloween, it was a nightmare for some, and in game 1, as Dustin Warren falls short to your commissioner final boss, and Dustin 84 to 127. This game just, more points than you've scored in a month. Just not enough production going here. A big hole from Miles Sanders, but it puts you up against the wall. We'll start here with your quarterback woes. I actually thought Tyler Bagent, God, I just want to say Dragnet. But anyway, looked like a good play against the Chargers. But, rookie quarterback up against a pro offense. And 11 points, okay. Big hole, as we said, Miles Sanders, had some touches, but it was for no productivity. And at this point in time, you may be dropping Miles Sanders. You're really just holding on to him in a 16-man league if Chuba Hubbard gets hurt. But that, Carolina offense isn't something you really want to be a part of anyway, unless it's Adam Thielen. Am I right? Brian Robinson, not really a great day. 9 points here. Amari Cooper gets you 14 points, but was not able to get into the end zone. And Scary Terry had a great day. Exactly what you needed in the swap with Amon St. Brown. 17 points here. Cole Kmet had another great day. 17 points. And that's what you figured against the Chargers, defense there. And the stack, kind of working, not wholly, just the, 2 interceptions really hurt you. That would have put Bagent at 16 points, which is respectable, and would have put you closer to the 90. Davante Adams is what really gets you, has over 5 dropped passes in this game. It was unreal. Now, I'm not saying Jimmy G was throwing the best passes, but some of the passes that Davante Adams dropped were very catchable and or within the realm of what you expect a player of his level and capabilities to complete, and he just dropped everything. So I don't know that Davante Adams has all that to be upset when he wants to blame other people and the coaching and the quarterback play when you can't even catch a ball. Miami, the defense, and Carlson, the kicker. It's 84 points. Like I said, trending upwards, just not enough. And, you've got to do better in week 8. I, on the other hand, hit another, 100 points here, high hundreds. That makes me happy, especially falling the hole with, Robinson last week. Thank God he got into the end zone to give me 12 points. We'll start with Herbert, 24 points. Great day against Chicago. Thought that was going to happen. We already talked about Bijan. Henry in the trade gets banged up here, but still gets me 16 points. We'll talk about Gus Edwards when we get to Evan, but I'm still happy with my Henry play here. Zay Flowers, very disappointing. Baltimore's offense, I don't know what that was. Maybe Arizona just playing tough. That not being the case, they won, but just not the Flowers that I wanted this week. A.J. Brown more than makes up the trade with Austin. I was targeting A.J. Brown all this year. Didn't think I could get him. If I knew that I would end up with A.J. Brown, I probably would have drafted Jalen Hurts in the 3rd round. But either way, great production, 33 points, highest scoring player on my team, third highest scoring player of fantasy this week. Musgrave, after coming off the injury, really disappointing, only 2 points. Keenan Allen, a little subpar, only 14 points, still hits the double digits though. Cleveland's defense struggling a bit there, but with the offense not being able to stay on the field, what do you expect? And then Aubrey, the kicker, 127 was the total. And the thing to walk away with here, and we'll talk more about it when we go over the entire week 8 standings and everything, but, it puts me within 1 win of guaranteeing a playoff berth. And Dustin, vice versa, you're on the wall. We talked about it last week. You now have hit the wall. It is, win or you're not making the playoff bracket. And right now, fighting to not be forever unclean, I think. And red alert, Dustin. Game 2 of Week 8 had the Grand Wizard Forrest Dozier falling in his second loss in a row to Aaron Felch, one of the rookies, 2 rookie losses as a matter of fact. A much-needed win, Aaron. You had to get another win, and you don't want to hit that, especially as we get less and less games. You don't want to get to that 6th and 7th loss, and we'll get to a point where a 7th loss is going to keep you out, possibly. Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Forrest, let's start with you. Jalen Hurts, 4 touchdowns, 320 yards almost, 27 fantasy points. It's the running back core is what absolutely changes everything here. Alexander Madison doesn't get into the end zone. Cam Akers is the one who actually falls in here. Raheem Mostert gets nothing going on the ground, only 10 points here. The wide receiver core is okay. Addison, 21 points. Nico Collins, respectable 7. You can argue Debo's definitely hurting you. We expect he would get more than 7 points. I can't believe Tyler Boyd gets you 13. Dallas Goedert, a respectable 7. But hey, even if, I will say, I like Mark Andrews being back here better, but even a 20-point Mark Andrews day isn't going to change this game. Buffalo, the defense, and Moody, the kicker, 6 and 5 respectively. It's 102 points. You're probably going to get a win when you hit 102, but not when Aaron is scoring 145. And Aaron, I will say, it really sucks. You needed a win, but you're still below 500. And Kirk Cousins, who has a good day, 19 points, tears his Achilles, and so we'll talk about what that means for you in Week 9, but at least in this game was able to get you double-digit points and get you a win here. Rachaad White, the volume is there, 17, no touchdown, but 17.9 points. Chuba Hubbard, we talked about it, you clearly have the running back you want if you have to start someone from Carolina. The big difference, you take away 40 points, and you're really, really close here. Obviously, we expect CeeDee Lamb to put up more than 10 or 12 or something, so you still win this game. But 41 points, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, monster game with CeeDee Lamb. Cortland Sutton gets into the end zone. Higbee almost gets 10 points. Garrett Wilson, you just didn't know what was going to happen, but hey, against the Giants, 17 points. You love it. Then you have the Giants defense, 13 points. McPherson, 8. It was a great week. A little rough going forward, Aaron, but hopefully you can keep it together and get some more wins into Week 9. Forrest needs to bounce back and get off this losing streak. Game 3 featured Evan Coles taking on veteran Josh Johnson. And Evan, you put up a noble fight, 124 points, but Josh had the second highest total, 140 in Week 8, and it just was everything, Josh, you needed. Lots of people who needed wins this week getting them. I'm not saying you didn't need a win, Evan, maybe even more so than Josh, given how your start to the season went, but it was Josh who walked away with the W. At least it was after 2 wins, Evan, and you like the production here, that trade working out in your favor. Patrick Mahomes makes a difference here. I mean, if Patrick Mahomes had a 30-point day like he did last week, you would have won this game. But I guess playing with flu-like symptoms, and then Denver's defense, who's been trending up, just monster day. Alvin Kamara and Kareem Hunt do exactly what you need him to do, 27 points and 13 respectively. Chris Godwin has a great day, 17 points. I think that Christian Watson, in what was a really weird game, the fact that you get 6 points, I mean, you're okay. But yeah, just a bad game for Green Bay. Logan Thomas, huge day, 16 points. And against Philadelphia, I'm a little surprised, but I mean, Logan Thomas is proving he is absolutely a top 10 tight end. And then Gus Edwards, who has a record-setting week career-wise last week and fantasy point-wise. And then this week beats it again, three touchdowns. Now, that's obviously not going to happen moving forward, but it's clear that he's the number one wide running back there. And then with the trade of Derrick Henry not coming to the Ravens, you clearly have the number one running back now in Baltimore. Now, is that going to be 3 touchdowns and 80 yards every week? I don't think so. Yes, that's a black cat who wants my attention behind me. Ridiculous. It's not going to happen every week, but in a week where you sure wish it had produced a win, because how many weeks like that are you going to get? San Francisco's defense and Justin Tucker only come together for 8 points. It's still a great week. That's what you want to see. 124 points. But Josh was like, nope, this week is mine. Derek Carr gets 18 points and doesn't turn the ball over. Imagine that. CMC goes off, makes up for Jarrett McKinnon's 1 point with his 29 points. Together they score for 30. But then everybody else, except for your RB2 and your defense, hit high double digits. Devontae Smith absolutely does what you've been waiting all year for. Even when A.J. Brown scores 33 points, gets 22 points. Tyler Lockett has a massive day, and I guess you're going to get one of these every couple of weeks. It was a week where your opponent scored 124 points. You needed it to happen. 22 for Mr. Lockett. Hawkinson 20. JSN 12. Atlanta got 2, but Gay, the kicker, 10. It was a huge win. You needed that. It definitely keeps you into the game. Now, Evan, you're not out of anything. You just need to do better in week 8, but Josh looking to can keep this production and getting another win into week 9. Keeping things going, Game 4 had Brennan Scala and Austin Allen, 2 rookies, going at it. This game was not close. Brennan, things just not going your way, even though I think game script in most of these games, was right. It just, the production from your players wasn't there. And Austin, big 116 kind of day, seeing the production from players that you've needed to. We'll start with you, though, Brennan. C.J. Stroud, tough game against Carolina, 12 points. It's just, not what you want to see. And then Jonathan Taylor, really not what you want to see he out-snapped and did everything right in this game with Zach Moss. It's just Zach Moss, the one that gets into the end zone and actually outscores. We'll talk more about Zach Moss when we get to Jack's team, but just for what you need to know is just 10 points, Jonathan Taylor, Brennan, and, DeAndre Swift, 14 points. Okay, you're happy with that. Unfortunately, Cooper Kupp and Josh Palmer not getting more than 11 points between the two of them. Schultz back down to earth, 2 points. George Pickens, 9 points. Deontay Johnson looks like he is back, and he is for real. Seahawks, 9, and Young Hoku, 12. And we talk about it when your kicker, your defense, one of your highest scoring players. That happens to be the case here. Only 82 points, just not enough to get a win, Brennan, after, getting 2 wins over the last, 3 weeks, and you're in a position where you definitely need to get another win in the next 2 weeks. You can't take 2 losses, but looking to bounce back in week 9. Austin not taking anything away from what was a great day. Joe Burrow back from the bye, looked healthy, was running around, 3 touchdowns, 27 points. That's what you want. Isaiah Pacheco, bad, 6 points. Jerome Ford, 4 points. So, hey, Between the two of them, not even 12 points. Puka Nacua, the Rams just getting shut out by Dallas, only 7 points. T. Higgins, 11. At least he hit double digits, and with the stack gets you over 30 points. And Njoku, great day coming in. This is the whole back of your team saves the day. 17 points, finds the end zone. Deontay Johnson takes all the volume away from George Pickens. Not to say George Pickens is bad, but there it is. There's a huge difference in this game. Detroit defense 14, and Elliott, the kicker, 116 points is too much for Brennan to handle. And Austin 5-3, having a good rookie year yourself as you hit the midpoint of the season and looking to continue that into week 9. And Brennan looking to, like we said, bounce back in week 9. Our next game was a stinky one as Chandler Taylor tries to hold off forever unclean Jay Johnson, and the stank was just too much for Chandler as his game came down to 1.5 points. Chandler so close, and in a monster week, 130 points. Lots of people taking high point losses this week. You're one of them. Josh Allen gets 29 points in the game against Tampa Bay. Exactly what you need. James Cook falls short with only the 8. A.J. Dillon, 10. Stephon Diggs, 16. D-Hop has the best game of his year at 34 points, 3 touchdowns, 130 yards. My goodness. Kyle Pitts, 6 points. Okay, pretty much that's what he's going to average, but you'll take it. KJ Osborne, 17 points, even with Kirk Cousins tears his Achilles. New Orleans, the defense, 3. Prater, the kicker, 5. And it's 130 points. You get a week 9 times out of 10, Chandler. You love the production. You hate the outcome. And Jay, it is just the most narrow of wins. You needed a win. You needed to get back to 500. You do. And you get back in the win column when Lamar Jackson, look at the difference in the quarterback play here. Lamar Jackson, 11 points. Joe Mixon saves your day. You've been waiting for this Joe Mixon, 20 points. Javonte Williams, 18 points. Michael Pittman, 18 points. And I'm going to hold off on Jacoby Myers because he makes the difference. Dalton Kincaid on Thursday, 17 points. Hollywood Brown, 15 points. Jacksonville, 12. McManus, 16. And then it comes down, you were behind by less than half a point. And you were thinking Jacoby Myers, who's dominated, getting better looks than Devontae Adams in this game against Detroit. You knew it'd be a little tough, but yeah, okay, Myers gets you 1 point. Nothing until the end of the Monday night game, where at the end of the game, Jacoby Myers gets 1 reception for 19 yards and gives you a win. It is the most narrow of wins. Both these guys, you're sitting in the middle, 4-4, playoff hope. That Jay, with us getting to the end of the mid part of the season, 2 more weeks and we start really focusing on who's going to make the playoffs. And 4-4 for both of you keeps your hopes alive, Jay. And Chandler, nothing to worry about here. You're in the same position, sitting in the middle. You have plenty of time. Just need to keep this production, both of you, going into week 9. Game 6 of week 8 gives us the Monday Night Miracle nightmare scenario for Gilby as you fall in a high point win again. Another 100-point loss, 123-127. Gilby had a 45-50 point lead in this game. There was no way that Derek was going to win. Gilby's going to get a much-needed win here, get back to 4-4. It's going to happen. Derek's going to take a loss. He'll be down in the 5-3 squad, and it doesn't happen. We'll start with you, Gilby, and I told you to stop channeling losers who've less fantasy gents like Ricky and Baxter, Wyatt. My God. These are people who are not good at fantasy football. Jordan Love, 14 points. Aaron Jones, 8 points. The Green Bay offense struggling. I will say Travis Etienne scores 25 here with Aaron Jones. That's over 30. you like that. Jamar Chase, Amon St. Brown, killer days, 25 points, 16 points, monster days. Jonnu Smith, nothing, 2.3. Adam Thielen does his job, 15. Minnesota, 11. Falk, 4. It's 123 points. You love it. I mean, there's no reason you would lose this game 9 times out of 10, just like with Chandler. You win this when you score that many points, but Derek and the fantasy gods said nay to a Tagovailoa, 21 points. Tony Pollard does nothing in the game where it was all in the air with Dallas. 6 points from Tony Pollard. We'll talk about Gibbs here in a minute. Chris Olave, 9. DJ Moore, 9. I mean, look at the comparison across the way. I will say Josh Downs is for real. You're going to get your 14, 15 points a week. I love that. The Jets defense, 10. Myers, the kicker, 6. What it comes down to, Monday night, Jareem Gibbs, 29.9 points, call it 30 points, and Sam Laporta, big night, 19 points. It's 127. Puts Derek up to 6-2. Gilby really sucks, 3-5. You just got to hope you keep scoring 100 points, brother. You love the production, hate the outcome. You've just got to hope if you keep scoring this, you will find success. You are going to get wins, and you hope that you just sneak into the playoffs. Maybe I don't even think you're sneaking in at this point. I mean, I think you could still be 5, 6, 7. It's going to be a bottom half of those seeds, but you could still do it. And even then, that may change. We got plenty of football left, so no mathematical relegations at this point in time unless you have 8 losses. And Derek, big win, puts you at 6-2. It's your 4th win in a row, 2nd longest active streak now in the league. You're just hoping to continue both of that into week 9. 2 games left to go in our Week 8 review, and Game 7 had Jack Littleraven and Jordan Payne going at it. 2 rookies, this game not close, and some bench play that maybe would have changed some things. Jack, you really can't dwell on that. We'll talk about it here in a moment. Jordan Payne, it was an important win to get you up to 500. You're sitting at 4-4. Jack, nothing lost when you're at 4-4. You're sitting at the middle of the pack. You're feeling okay. We'll start with the team breakdown with you, Jack, as Jared Goff, not a great day, only 12 points. Elliott, the running back play, and Stevenson, I get, maybe trying to get everything here in this Miami game, but I also understand not wanting to play Zach Moss as the trend is going down for him and up for Jonathan Taylor. And I will say, for what it's worth, Zach Moss gets out snapped handily in this game. The only difference is that he vultures this touchdown, and it would have made a difference for you. Maybe I'm playing, I think moving forward, I'm playing Zach Moss because I don't want to start 2 running backs from the same team here. That's kind of a dangerous thing, as you can see, especially when they only get about 10 points between the 2 of them. Mike Evans comes down to earth a bit here, 12 points. Michael Gallup, only 4 points. Everything going through CeeDee Lamb. Travis Kelce, not the 20, 30-point game that you like. The Broncos shoving him down. He still gets 11 points compared to a lot of people's tight end. I'm a good example. You did just fine. Josh Reynolds, the flex play here, and could that have been Kittle, and could Moss and Kittle have made a difference? It would have been very, very close, but it may have swung this into your favor. You can't dwell on that. I think minus the running back play here, you did the right thing, just didn't work out that week. And again, you've got one more week to get a trade out of either Kelce or Kittle. I think you do that because you've got some holes here that could easily be filled, and that's you have the personnel to trade. That's just my humble opinion. Dallas's defense gets you that 17 points, and Bass, the kicker, 6. It's only 75, just not enough to get you a win. Jordan, I don't want to take anything away from you, sir. Excellent pickup this week. Geno Smith, 13 points, but, I think the turnovers change that. I mean, 4 points puts us at a 17-point day. Austin Eckler and Henderson, I don't know how you get lucky. Maybe it's just the fact that you eat up all the running backs. So, I mean, some are going to hit, some are not, and you're just going to roll with the ones that do. But between Eckler and Henderson, 30-plus points. You love to see it. Brandon Ayuk gets 15. Sure could have used that last week, if you don't mind me saying. DK Metcalf, 11. Okay. Darren Waller, no 20 points this week, and now banged up, so we'll talk more about that in week 9. Josh Jacobs has a great day, gets into the end zone, 16 points. I will say only 10 points if he doesn't get into the end zone. Baltimore's defense, 6. Hopkins, the kicker, 8. But it's 108. That's right where you were last week. That's consistent scoring. That's what you want to see. And you're right there with the league average. So, yeah, a win here. Again, both of you guys sitting at 4-4, right in the middle of the pack. Plenty to look forward to. Just want to do better, Jack, in week 9 and looking to stay consistent, Jordan, in week 9. Game of the week for Week 8 featured co-commissioner Aaron Grog taking on rookie Brock Cousins. It was just a bit too much for Brock to handle as it comes down to 9 points. And Monday night, talking about people getting their Monday night miracles, Aaron Grog, 128 to Brock Cousins, 119. Again, super, super close. And on a game where Matthew Stafford almost ruins it for you, getting injured with the thumb, only 11 points. Breece Hall, big day, 21 points. Devonta Foreman, not the Chicago running back of last week with 30 points, but between him and Breece Hall, get 25 points. Tyreek Hill, 25 points. Calvin Ridley doesn't get into the end zone, but has the volume to get you 14. Mark Andrews falls into the end zone, 14 points here. And then as we're talking about it, and I will say you're very, very lucky, gets a bomb touchdown. Only 3 receptions here, 153 yards, and one of them goes into the end zone. 24 points for Rashid Shaheed. Philadelphia's defense actually goes negative, hinders you. It was a 15-point defensive swing if you look at the comparison. And again, what saves your bacon, Aaron, is a 16-point night from Patterson, the kicker in Detroit. I mean, just everything had to happen for him to get that point total, and it saves your day. Unfortunately, Brock, you love the production. Again, you're going to get a win 9 times out of 10 when you score 119 points. T-Law, there is his 15 points. Saquon Barkley, 15. Jaylen Warren falls a little bit short of that 10 points you like to see. But Jaylen Waddle, we talked about who could this come down to? What can make the difference? They tie. Tyreek Hill, 25 points. Jaylen Waddle, 25 points. It literally nullifies themselves. Christian Kirk, what did we talk about? We were sure Christian Kirk was going to end up with more points in this game, and it ends up being Calvin Ridley. And you can argue there's your 9 points. At least 6 of them is that Calvin Ridley outscores Christian Kirk in this game. Evan Ingram goes off the triple stack, effectively does what it needed to do. And then Kenneth Walker, that's the big difference is the flex play. Kenneth Walker, 8 points. The defense, I think we told you 12 points, and it's a 15-point swing with the defensive comparison. And Butker, 11 points. You love the production, you hate the outcome, Brock. It ends the longest win streak that was active into week 8. You're still sitting at 5-3, Aaron. It brings you up to 5-3, sitting in the midsection of the championship seeding, and that'll end our game coverage. So if you would, Dave, throw up the standings for week 8, and we'll take a look at everything. And I am now your Lord and Master. If it wasn't, assumed before, there it is. I am now the number 1 person in the league, sitting at 7-1, a game ahead of the next 2 people. Forrest, who's lost 2 games in a row, sits at 6-2, and Derek, we talked about that very, very narrow win, helps you keep up here in the 6-2 category, which helps you not only tie right now with Forrest, but again, just 1 game behind us. Our team's sitting at 5-3 in order: Brock Hutchins, Aaron Grog, Austin Allen, and only 2 games behind myself. Again, look how close that game, Brock and Aaron sitting right next to each other. And it helps you, Aaron, so much, not falling to 4-4. Speaking of our 4-4 teams, Jay, look at how that we talk about all the teams that ended up 4-4, whether it brought you to 4-4 or you fell to 4-4. You're still sitting right there in the middle, right where you want to be in the mid part of fantasy football. And Jay, we'll talk about, look at the jump you were able to make by getting that fourth win. In order, Jay Johnson, Jack Little Raven, Chandler Taylor, and Jordan Payne. Look where it puts you from where you were at 4-4. I will say, if you look at the mid area for our top 8 teams, it is right there with Chandler Taylor and Jordan Payne, the 2 4-4s. You could imagine, I'm just hypothetically saying here, those are going to be 7-7 teams. So if you're thinking, hey, I'm only going to end up at 7-7, you better hope that you've beaten these people. Look at the people that are in this area. This can change a little bit as we move forward, but these are the people you need to hope you have tiebreakers against if you're going to hit that 7-7. Now, even if you're not, you have nothing to worry about. We have plenty of fantasy football left. Even if you're 3-5, look, you're right there on the outside of what could be an 8th seed, and that's Luke Gilbertson, Josh Johnson, Aaron Felch. You guys getting big wins to get you to 3-5. Good job. And then, sitting here, not, in danger zone quite yet. You've got some losses you can still absorb. You don't want to. Is Evan Coles, Brennan Scala, 2-6. You guys, you found some wins. You've got to find some more. You imagine your production, Evan, was good this week. You need to keep that going. Brennan, it was just a lack of production, but you had you've had several high point games. You're going to see that again. And Dustin Warren, you're the only one who is in our red alert protocol. If you take one more loss, you are not going to be in the winner's bracket, and at this point in time, probably the favorite to become forever unclean. But that takes care of our standings for Week 8. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down Week 9. Game 1 of Week 9, and you already know, Dustin, it's a matchup between Jack Little Raven and Dustin Warren. Dustin, this is it. You absolutely have to get a win this week. There is no other way around it. If you lose, you will not be in the winner's bracket. You will definitely be in the contention ladder. Jack, I will say, with 3 players on bye, George Kittle, Jared Goff, Josh Reynolds, it's, I will say, a fortuitous matchup in the sense that you're playing somebody who's struggling to score, and you're still projected into the hundreds. Let's break it down as Dak Prescott's going to get Philadelphia, taper that expectation with Philadelphia's number 1 defense. Zach Moss and Ramondre Stevens, which I do think is the right thing to do here. Running backs 1 and 2, you sure do like the matchups, Carolina and Washington respectively. Mike Evans, Michael Gallup, wide receivers 1 and 2, and you're going to taper your expectation there with Gallup, hoping that he just gets into the end zone. Travis Kelce against Miami, but, Jalen Ramsey's back, so keep that in mind. Not that he would technically be on or covering Travis Kelce. Wan'Dale Robinson will be the flex play here. No choice in starting Kittle this week. Washington, the defense, and Tyler Bass, the kicker. Like I said, projected into the hundreds here. I will say, if there's a chance, Dustin, to keep your hopes alive, it's this week. Jack has 3 players that he normally be starting this week on the bench, and so it is a chance. Tyler Badgett comes in as your quarterback. Now, maybe you can change that up depending on matchups with the waiver wire, but New Orleans is a tough defense here. Miles Sanders and Brian Robinson, running backs 1 and 2, don't really have a choice with starting Sanders. Is no alternative option really sitting on the bench. Amari Cooper, Scary Terry, wide receivers 1 and 2. We talk about it. This is where your team shines, and they need big days. And I will say, Amari Cooper gets Arizona. It is a possibility. We'll just see who's going to be doing the quarterbacking. Cole Kmet needs another big week. Can he keep it going 3 weeks in a row? And Devontae Adams, who's not only letting you down, but letting down fantasy managers everywhere, gets a nice matchup with the Giants defense. So can these wide receivers, this is what you're going to lean on to bail yourself out. Miami, the defense, and Carlson, the kicker. I must say, I don't see it happening. If I have to pick someone, I am going to pick Jack in this game. But Dustin, prove me wrong. Game 2 of Week 9 features longtime veteran Josh Johnson taking on rookie Chandler Taylor, and Chandler having an okay year right now, sitting at 500, 4-4. Josh coming in a little under 500, 3-5, has had some high point losses. Unfortunately, this week, Josh, CMC's gone, and he was doing the work of two running backs. I mean, your running back core very thin, and it shows this week. Your projection total not good. Derek Carr comes in, and against Chicago, you hope he has a good day. It's a good matchup, maybe more than the points he's projected here. Antonio Gibson and Jerick McKinnon have to fall into the end zone. If you're going to win this game, has to happen, because you're not going to get these 25, 30 points that you've been getting from Jerick McKinnon. Devonta Smith and Tyler Lockett, need to have the weeks that they had last week, but tough defenses, Dallas and Baltimore, respectively. TJ Hawkinson, a nice matchup with Atlanta, needs to have another big week, and JSN will come in as the flex play as usual, again, facing Baltimore. You're just hoping that him and Tyler Lockett have big weeks here. Really, really, really have to compensate for your running back core, especially if they don't get in the end zone. Atlanta, the defense, and Gay, the kicker, it's a projection of 90. So I will say it's not the worst projection ever, but you just see the difference here in how much CMC gives your team. But you scored 140 points last week. That's what you need again. Chandler, though, scored 130. It was a tough loss last week. Could easily have been 5-3 coming into this game. And I will say that the matchup for your triple stack's a little tougher, especially given that Buffalo just signed Leonard Fournette. We'll break it down as Josh Allen, a little banged up as well, gets Cincinnati. We'll see what Cincinnati defense shows up here, but I mean, it's the defense hasn't been the problem. It's been the offense. And now that offense is staying on the field longer, we imagine that might be the case. Buffalo's defense will be a big factor here as well. How much time is Cincinnati's defense going to get to rest here against this Buffalo offense? Well, that'll be a big thing here. James Cook, we talked about it, now has to compete with Leonard Fournette and Latavius Murray. And if they felt James Cook could handle the load, they would not have picked up Latavius Murray, so you really hope that the Vulture doesn't eat more already than Latavius Murray was into James Cook's time. A.J. Dillon, touchdown dependent as always. You like the matchup with the Rams. Stephon Diggs and D-Hop, wide receivers 1 and 2, and you need both these guys to have a good week, and more importantly, D-Hop to have another 3 touchdowns, okay? That would be great. Kyle Pitts comes in as your tight end, get your 6 points. That's what you need. KJ Osborne, super, how should I say? KJ Osborne's value goes way down here in the sense that without Kirk Cousins, I mean, I've seen the rankings for just Jordan Addison with Kirk Cousins being out, and it's not good. So anybody behind Jordan Addison, it includes Hawkinson. So Josh, you're going to have issues. I didn't mention it, but now that we're talking about it, KJ Osborne, Brandon Powell, all of these things are now up in jeopardy when it comes to who's going to be distributing the targets. New Orleans, the defense, and Prater, the kicker. I will say both these teams have some weaknesses to deal with this week. Josh definitely has a hole, but if I have to go, I'm going to go with the more complete team, the one that seems to be trending upwards. And Josh, if you score another 100 points and take a loss, kind of like Gilby, but we'll get to that in a minute, then that really stinks, especially when you talk about you're going to hit 6 losses, which only gives you that 1 point cushion. But if I have to choose, and I do, I'm going to pick Chandler in this game in week 9. Game 3 will give us Brock Hudgens and Brennan Scala. One of these rookies having a great year, the other rookie having a rough year, but it is trending up, Brennan. I will say this game is going to be in your favor. Brock dealing with the biggest load of bye week players this week than anyone else. Every single person on his bench is either on a bye or injured. That includes the triple stack with T. Law, Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram, Jameson Williams, Devon A-Chain, Zach Ertz. If you're injured or hurt or on a bye, you are on Brock's bench this week. Brennan, you're pretty much at full strength. I will say 112 on the projection is pretty good. I am going to start with Brock first. Battle of the Bees. Gardner Minshew will come in against Carolina. You like the matchup at least. Saquon Barkley and Jaylen Warren will come in as running backs 1 and 2. Love the matchup. Barkley with Las Vegas. Jaylen Warren, you get Tennessee, and I will say at least you would like to see him hit that 10-point threshold. Hitting that, even 3 points can make a difference in games, as we've seen several times this year. Jalen Waddle and Quintez Johnston will come in as wide receivers 1 and 2. Jalen Waddle, man, if you could use another 25-point week, this is definitely it to make up for just all the buys you're dealing with. Irv Smith Jr. will come in as a tight end play, and good to know that Kenneth Walker is back, but taper expectation with Baltimore. Kansas City, the defense. Butker, the kicker. It's 98. You have the potential, you've got the defense. You can get into the hundreds. You need, I think, to do that this week. Brennan, 2 and 6. You don't want to take another loss. It puts you in a position that is very precarious, that if you lose just one more game, you will not make the winner's bracket. And I think you've definitely got the potential to make that Cinderella comeback this year. We'll start C.J. Stroud. We'll get Tampa Bay. Taper expectation, as we already know, Tampa Bay can be a little stingy. Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift. You like the match with Taylor. Dallas for Swift. Taper expectation, but last time he did, just fine. Cooper Kupp and Josh Palmer, wide receivers 1 and 2. Cooper Kupp, with Matthew Stafford's injury, it changed everything. Will that be the case? We're not quite sure. Is Matthew Stafford's day to day? Green Bay's not playing well, so you think at least he can hit double digits either way. I do like Palmer here against the Jets. Schultz gets Tampa Bay, taper expectation there. George Pickens gets Tennessee, that's okay. Seattle, the defense, and Young Ho Koo, the kicker. I do think that this is going to go the way the projections show. When you have a massive bye week like this, it's so hard to win. So go ahead and give me Brock in week 9 to get his 3rd win. Game number 4 features your commissioner, Joe Johnson, taking on Wisconsinite and veteran Luke Gilbertson, and Luke channeling yet another former member of Fantasy Gents, and this time it's going to be Matt Wersba, who's also a Wisconsinite. That won't help you. Matt didn't do good. Matt didn't even care enough to do good. He just showed up and put together a team, and all for the 1 year that he actually, mock drafted and prepared. He went nowhere. So that's who you're choosing to channel. I will say it won't matter because you're on a bye week. No Travis Etienne, no Amon St. Brown, 2 big holes. No Desmond Ridder, as he's not going to be quarterbacking this week. You've been running Jordan Love, so I guess that doesn't matter either way. I'm at full strength, ready to go, averaging 117 points. We'll start with my team. Justin Herbert comes in and gets the Jets, so we'll see how that game goes. We know the Jets' defense is not the problem, it's just how much time will their offense give them to rest. Bijan Robinson, Derrick Henry, running backs 1 and 2. I like the matchups both. I will say Henry dealing with a little bit of a banged-up ankle, but at least looks like he's going to play. If not, I have his backup, not a big deal. Zay Flowers and A.J. Brown, wide receivers 1 and 2. With Dallas, I want to say I should taper expectations here with A.J. Brown, so maybe not the 30 points that I'm used to, but I still expect 20. This is with Devonta Smith. We saw it last week. Both these guys can hit into the high 20s. We'll just see how much, pressure Jalen Hurts gets put under. Musgrave will be my tied in here, and I like the matchup with the Rams. Keenan Allen will be my flex play, and again, talking about the Jets, but I've got the stack, and he has not been the Keenan Allen that he started the season off. I'll say the last 2 weeks have been really rough. I need Keenan Allen to get back into those high double digits again. Cleveland, the defense, and Aubrey, the kicker. The projection's 124, excuse me. Your projected, it's about 16 points. Behind that at 107, Jordan Love gets the Rams. You do like that matchup, but the quarterback play, just the offense is really struggling in Green Bay. I don't have to tell you guys, you Wisconsinite guys, that. Aaron Jones, you like this matchup. You want this to be the Aaron Jones that you hope you drafted into, but it has been really, really bad. And, you're not, like I said with, A.J. Dillon and Chandler, you're really almost hoping both these guys fall into the end zone if they can even get into the red zone. Tony Ingram, running back 2, again, you're just hoping for someone to fall in the end zone here. Jamar Chase and Drake London, wide receivers 1 and 2, and Drake London banged up, may not play. Not 100% sure if he's going to be able to play, so you may be looking for another wide receiver 2. We'll see. Jamar Chase maybe needing to make up for both those guys. Look at this. It's another tight end. It's Hayward this time, coming in for the Muth, who is out. Adam Thielen, your great flex play. Indianapolis, we'll see. But, averaging this 15-ish points, I imagine, against Indianapolis, that could be possible. Just see how much pressure they put, Young under, and just how much they get after that offense there in Carolina. Minnesota, the defense, and Falk, the kicker. So, Gilby, at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. Okay, you keep channeling. I told you, believe it yourself. You keep channeling losers, number 1. 2, you don't mock draft. You don't prepare. You're not ready for a long-term season. Okay, you managed to get a trade with the most desperate person in the league, and you don't even get to play the person you traded for against me. Mute point. So, hey, look, Gilby, get your spotted cow, get your cheese curds, sit down, just try to enjoy the Green Bay game if you can enjoy that, but you're probably going to take a loss there. You're going to take a loss in fantasy. You're going to be basically 2 games from being eliminated from the championships bracket. Gilby, you ain't got nothing on me. Get the fuck off my lawn and let's go to the next game. Moving right along, Game 5 gives us Jordan Payne and Evan Coles. Again, 2 rookies. Jordan sitting at 4-4. Evan struggling a little more than that, 2-6. And you definitely need to pick up a win this week, Evan. It's going to be tough. Jordan, very tough team to beat. I will say, no Brandon Ayuk and no Darren Waller. You're without Jerry Jeudy. And, this game within 8 points, so it could really go either way. We'll start with you, Jordan. Geno Smith gets Baltimore. Taper your expectation there. Austin Eckler and Henderson are running backs 1 and 2. You like the matchup with Henderson and Green Bay. You can run on Green Bay. We'll see if Freeman just gets more of the work, which may be the case. They kind of evened out 50-50, at least fantasy point-wise, last week. Michael Thomas and DK Metcalf, wide receivers 1 and 2, and Michael Thomas has a juicy matchup here with Chicago. Can he save your week? I see the Darren Waller slotted to play. I imagine he's not going to. Not that it would make a difference. You picked up Trey McBride like you needed him. I guess you may actually end up needing him this week, but it's a nice replacement to have. Josh Jacobs needs another 16-point game. Can he do that against the Giants? You like the matchup. Baltimore, the defense, and Hopkins, the kicker. Projection is 111. Again, it's about 8 points more than your projection of 103, Evan. Patty Mahomes will come in as your quarterback, has to score more than 5 points against Miami. It's a tougher defense. We think maybe tougher than the Broncos, or so we thought. Will he still be sick at that time as well? We'll see. You're going to need a big 20, 30-point day to beat Jordan here. Alvin Kamara and Kareem Hunt, wide running backs 1 and 2. You love the play with Kamara against Chicago. That is big numbers coming. Kareem Hunt with Jerome Ford back. You like the matchup with Arizona. Probably will fall into the end zone here. You need it to happen to match up with the running back core here with Jordan, Chris Godwin, and Christian Watson, wide receivers 1 and 2. This is good matchups here, even though Houston can be stingy. Godwin needs another good week, and that offense there in Green Bay has got to get going. Logan Thomas against New England, I like that. I don't know if they're going to be solely focused on the quarterback play, or maybe just focusing on Scary Terry. Bill Belichick's going to go after your best player. It's clearly Terry McLaurin, and maybe this frees up Logan Thomas, especially in the end zone. Nice week last week. Gus Edwards, if he gets another 3 touchdowns, I will lose my shit, Evan, if he gets another 3 touchdowns. Sure like the matchup with Seattle. San Francisco's defense, I will say, is on a bye, so obviously you're going to replace them. I imagine you'll get anywhere from 6 to 8 points. That puts you with this game within 2. And that really means this game could go either way. It's that close. Tucker, the kicker, and boy howdy, do I have a decision already to make in Game 5. Again, I think once Evan replaces that defense, this game gets really, really close. And, it sure could go either way. I think the running back cores actually kind of even out, especially if, Darrell Henderson doesn't get much going here, or what if Austin Eckler's stifled by that Jets defense? I mean, Josh Jacobs, I'm not hanging my hat on as a guaranteed good day here. Gus Edwards has really come alive. Kamara could have a giant day here. I think you've got some wide receiver issues here, but Chris Godwin's good. I mean, this is so close. I really don't know who I'm going to pick, if just right off the top of my head, but I feel like what this can come down to is Patrick Mahomes and Geno Smith. And Geno Smith it's a tough matchup, more so for Geno, but if Patrick Mahomes has this 20 or 30 point day, I think the rest of your team, Evan, can get it done. Jordan, I think you have, I think it's very possible you get a win here. This is tough. This is really tough, and maybe I channel a little luck for Evan here in the sense that, you need a win, Evan. You need a win. Can you get it? We're going to find out. Oh, man, it's so tough. Oh, all right. I'm going to pick Jordan Payne in week number 9. 3 games left to go in week 9, and game 6 is extremely close. Within 7 points, Austin Allen and Aaron Felch coming into this one. Austin sitting at 5-3. He's won his last 2 games, projected at 112. And, Aaron, you big win last week, and you need to keep it going. You need to get a 4th win here. We'll start with you, Austin, as Joe Burrow had a great week last week, but you're going to taper expectation as Buffalo is the matchup. And I will say Buffalo's defense has not played to what we, necessarily thought they would be this year, but, they're getting it together. And you saw how much they trended up last week. Can that be the case this week, or will Joe Burrow, who looked fantastic, moving around, 3 touchdowns, that's the Joe Burrow that you traded for, that's the Joe Burrow you need this week? Isaiah Pacheco, Jerome Ford, running backs 1 and 2. We talked about it with Jerome Ford. It's a great matchup with Arizona. He should go back to be getting all of the touches there in that offense. Needs to get into the end zone. Isaiah Pacheco, if he gets a touchdown here, you have the better running back core compared to Aaron's team. you could really shut him out here. Puka Nacua and T. Higgins, wide receivers 1 and 2. Again, you like the stack up with Joe Burrow, but again, Buffalo, the defense, maybe them shadowing, Jamar Chase will help Higgins here. Puka Nacua a little banged up, but Green Bay can be had. I like the matchup. Njoku, again, with Arizona, like that. Deontay Johnson, who's really come on for you here, has definitely, in my opinion, he has reclaimed that number 1 wide receiver spot. Maybe it was never in doubt to begin with, but he looked good. He needs to look good again here against Tennessee. Las Vegas, the defense, and Elliott, the kicker. 112 on the projection. Again, it's a real close 7-point game. I love Aaron. You've been having some issues, at quarterback because now Kirk Cousins, torn Achilles, done for the year, but I love this waiver pickup. It was the right thing to do, and he looked amazing. He looked absolutely amazing, and we may be talking about a franchise quarterback here, and you love the matchup with Pittsburgh, too. Rachaad White and Chuba Hubbard, little tough defenses here, Houston and Indianapolis, respectively. You have the volume, though, with Rachaad White. You got to get into the end zone because, again, we just talked about Austin definitely has the better running back core here. CeeDee Lamb needs to have you wouldn't complain about another 40-point week. Taper that expectation as it's Philadelphia. Romeo Doubs comes in as wide receiver 2. Tyler Higbee, my God, gets Green Bay and the Rams. You like the play, but just Higbee not getting enough volume, and that could change if Matthew Stafford, again, all this Puka, Nacua, Higbee, Cooper Kupp is going to depend on what the status of Matthew Stafford is. I almost liken it. I was getting ready to say Garrett Wilson, perfect example. Garrett Wilson had a good week last week, but he's coming in at like wide receiver 30 compared to everyone else because Zach Wilson's frankly horrible. That could be what you're looking at here with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Maybe a less inexperienced quarterback is going to check down to Higbee more. That may help you. The Giants defense and McPherson, the kicker, it's 105, and this game it's going to be close, guys. It really is. It's why you make it into my final 3, but Detroit, man, Austin's got Detroit's defense, and Montgomery's still out. Not that they play this week. They're on a bye, obviously, which is good because maybe Montgomery comes back in week 10. Unfortunately for you, Aaron, also dealing with some bye. Cortland Sutton, which would be a great play here over Romeo Doubs, and we already know Kirk Cousins not able to play, but Will Levis could maybe not put up Kirk Cousins numbers, but at least get you that 15, 18. If he does what he did last week, you're doing better than Kirk Cousins if that's the case. So both these owners dealing with some bye week, and injuries. But without that, I will say, Austin, you have the better record. I do like the running back core better. I don't necessarily like your running back core. You do have the stack. Will Levis is an unknown. So unfortunately, Aaron, if I'm making my pick, and I do, give me Austin Allen to get his 6th win here in week 9. Just 2 games left to go here for our Week 9 review, and this game is going to be another stinky matchup, and forever unclean, Jay Johnson will take on Heart of the Cards, Forrest Dozier, and Forrest coming off of 2 losses. He just steamrolled everybody, and now kind of struggling. Jay, you're sitting right in the middle, 4-4, big win last week, really changed the outcome of what could be the end of the year for you, and you're where you're sitting currently. So a narrow, less than 2-point win last week to stave off Chandler. Can you bring the shit wins to bear on the Grand Wizard and all of his nonsense? We talk about shit wins. I dare say that Forrest controls them, I will say as well, Javonte Williams on a bye for you. Now, Forrest doesn't have Deebo Samuel. He doesn't have P. Ryan. He has to change his kicker. So dealing with several byes himself. And both these teams, we know they're scoring. Jay, you're scoring very, very well. You're just dealing with the same issues that Gilby's dealing with. We talked about it last week, and that is that Gilby has had 998 points scored against him. You're right there with him. You've had 981 points scored against you, and you're still sitting at 4-4. Forrest, hasn't had anywhere near 900, but still, has had a great start to the year. The last 2 weeks have not gone his way, and it was close. We'll see. Jay, we'll start with you. Lamar Jackson has got to have a better day than 11 points this week, and Seattle is a defense that you love the matchup. It can definitely happen, get into the high 20s, maybe even 30s here. Joe Mixon and Royce Freeman, running backs 1 and 2. Mixon needs to have another 20-point week, but you're going to taper that expectation with Buffalo. You sure do like the matchup with Freeman, though. Michael Pittman and Jacoby Myers, wide receivers 1 and 2. Great matchups here. Can Michael Pittman get more than his 3 receptions, even though he still seems to hit that 18-20 point? But you want to see a better volume here, and both these guys have soft defenses. It's great chance to score high this week. Dalton Kincaid looked fantastic. Tougher defense this week, but still could have a very good week, especially if you're going to focus on Stephon Diggs. Hollywood Brown gets Cleveland. Taper expectation here. Unfortunately, not really a better option to go to with Kendrick Bourne tearing his Achilles, and so he's on IR now. Just a really bad injuries last week. New England, the defense, and Sanders, the kicker, and 110 on the projection. With that being said, it's only a 3-point difference in the projections. Jalen Hurts gets Dallas. Is that going to make a difference in this game? You sure hope it does, Jay. But Forrest, consistently hitting over 20 points. He's looked fantastic. He's the number 1 quarterback in fantasy. Alexander Madison and Raheem Mostert, running backs 1 and 2, have both struggled. And you can see that in your 2 losses. Both the last 2 weeks have not been good. You like the matchup with Madison in Atlanta. Will he be the one that falls into the end zone? And then, we talk about Kirk Cousins affecting the wide receivers. We didn't, we just now can take into the ramifications of the running game. If you can't run, if you can't pass, you can't run, and you use the run to open up the pass. If you can't do either, this offense could get really stagnant really quick. You just hope that he gets his starting running back volume, and really you just hope that either he or Cam Akers can fall into the end zone. Obviously, you're starting Madison. You hope it's him. Jordan Addison, up in the air. What's going to happen? You like the matchup, but who's going to be, who is going to be able to get that ball distributed well enough that you feel comfortable with, Justin Jefferson-like production? And the answer is there's nobody. This really, really blows if you are invested into the Minnesota Vikings as a fantasy owner. Nico Collins is your wide receiver 2. Taper expectations, Tampa Bay. Dallas Goedert, love the play, but Dallas, you just really hope that he's able to take looks away from a very covered A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith. Of course, I don't hope that, but you do. Tyler Boyd will come in as your flex play here. Again, tough matchups for us this week. Dallas, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, and now Cincinnati. Buffalo, your defense, and that could be bad here. Cincinnati looked really, really good. If this turns into a shootout, they could go negative on you again. Dicker, the kicker, good pickup waiver-wise. It's 107 to 110, and the difference here, Jay has really good matchups. Forrest, you have really tough matchups, and with the bye issues, I hate to say it, but I think Jay is going to have to shit in the forest this week. So give me Jay Johnson to get a win and get on the right side of 500. And Forrest takes his 3rd loss in a row in week number 9. With one game left to go, it means it's game of the week. Give it to me, Dave.
I'm ready! I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, yeah. Wubba lubba dub dub!
Bam!
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Thank you, sir. And our game of the week will feature longtime veteran Derek Ashe taking on co-commissioner Aaron Grog. Both of these owners on the right side of 500. Both of these owners in the top 8. And I can guarantee you we will most likely see both of these owners in the playoffs at some seed or another. We'll start with you, Derek, as Gibbs and Laporta both on bye. That hurts, and it shows in your projection. Only 106. But again, this game very close, within 5 points. Aaron dealing with a little by himself, Calvin Ridley, but that's it. So not nearly as tough as you. Tua Tagovailoa comes in, gets Kansas City. Kansas City, I would say before last week, had a really good defense, but after last week, I don't know. And maybe it was just the offense not being able to get things going for Kansas City. But I want to say taper expectations here, as Kansas City could have a better day defensively than you might think. Tony Pollard and Roschon Johnson, running backs 1 and 2. I really am curious to see what Roschon looks like, but New Orleans, the defense, and then Pollard, who has not looked good the last couple weeks, gets Philadelphia. So, I'm just, tapering my expectation a little bit here, Derek. You really need to see some production from Pollard, and then we need to see what Roschon can do as the unfettered starting running back, and really just hope Devonta Foreman doesn't vulture him too bad. Chris Olave and DJ Moore, wide receivers 1 and 2, and again, you like the matchup for Olave, not so much for DJ Moore, especially with the quarterback changes. I mean, at least with Justin Fields, who wasn't good the last couple of weeks before his injury, he was getting DJ Moore the ball. Okonkwo will come in as your tight end against Pittsburgh. I like it, and if Will Levis is for real, I feel much better about Okonkwo than I did, 2 weeks ago. Josh Downs, who is guaranteed to get you 14 points. I love the play. Again, you snatched him from me the week you picked him up off waivers, excuse me. I was literally going to get him, and you picked him up one spot ahead of me. So yeah, I love the play here. Jets defense and Fairbairn, the kicker. Again, 106 on the projection. Grog has the edge, at least projection-wise, 110, but Matthew Stafford is day-to-day. We do not know if he will play. If he doesn't, I think that changes everything in this game, and even with him, I don't know if it'll go Aaron's way. You sure do like the matchup, Aaron, with Green Bay. Breece Hall and Devonta Foreman, running backs 1 and 2. We just talked about it with Roschon. Can Devonta Foreman vulture him here? Either way, you're both tapering your expectation with New Orleans. You love Breece Hall in the matchup with the Chargers. Tyreek Hill and Rashid Shaheed, wide receivers 1 and 2. I love Tyreek no matter who he's playing, and you love the matchup with Shaheed here. Mark Andrews gets an easy, juicy matchup. Could be a big day for Mark Andrews against Seattle. Gabe Davis comes in. Cincinnati, I've said all this episode, we'll see what defense we get with Cincinnati. I think it'll be a tough Cincinnati defensive day, but with them watching Stephon Diggs, I think that frees up Gabe Davis. He had a monster week last week, and he sat on your bench. Not that you were wrong to do that. I had him on my bench in another league, so I don't blame you. But for both of us this week, he's definitely coming off the bench, if only because of buys, as again, I point out you're not able to play Calvin Ridley this week. Philadelphia, the defense, and Group, the kicker, 110 to 106. And I will say, I think this game will be close. Lots of tough matchups for both people. Aaron does have a slightly better, defensive matchups in certain positions. Like Mark Andrews can make a big difference here. Either way, I think the quarterback play. Tua could have a really, really good day here, just normally. And then if Matthew Stafford doesn't play, it could really change things. I like Josh Downs as a more consistent player. That doesn't mean he couldn't get outscored by Gabe Davis. Oh, Aaron obviously has the better wide receiving core. Obviously, Derek, you have the better running back core. This is going to be the game of the week, obviously, because I picked it, but it is going to be a good game to watch. But I have to pick a winner, and if I have to pick, I do think that I just don't feel good about this Matthew Stafford play. I don't like Devonta Foreman here. I think Roschon. I'm have Roschon in another league, and I dropped Devonta Foreman. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Derek Ash to get a win in Week 9. But Derek, I may have just doomed you. Every time I pick against Aaron, he wins, and every time I pick for Aaron, he loses. So this may have actually, in some weird way, the shit magic I've just caused Aaron to win. I don't know. But that will cover our last game of Week 9. Let's go ahead and throw up the power rankings, please, Dave. And as we can see, our rest of the season power rankings haven't changed all that much. A little bit of jumbling. I remain the number 1 projected team. Aaron has reclaimed that number 2 spot. Derek has now gone into the number 3. I will say, Gilby, there you are at number 4. And I'm sitting at number 1. This is going to be a good game. Maybe I should have had us closer here this week. I'm not sure, but at least for you're sitting here at 3 and 5 long-term projection. It has you at number 4. Excuse me. Number 5, Brock Cousins. It looks like you just dropped that 1 spot. Jordan Payne sits at 6. Jay Johnson jumping all the way up to number 7. And look who it is still. Brennan Scala at 2 and 6 is slated to steal that number 8 seed. Can it happen? Can the Cinderella comeback happen here for Brennan Scala to get that 8 seed? And look what we're talking about here, guys. Forrest, even though you're sitting at 6 and 2, you've taken 2 losses in a row. It may be a 3rd loss in a row after this week, and you're sitting at projected number 9, just to miss the playoffs. And that goes back all the way to when you made the trade with Aaron for Mark Andrews. Evan, you've moved up to number 10. That's impressive. Josh, 11. Austin, brother, you're sitting at 5 and 3. It looks like you're projecting to end up 12. Ouch. Josh, Jack, Aaron Felch, and of course Dustin to finalize everything. So we're getting to the point, guys. 1 week left to go, and trade deadline hits. And then at that point in time, it's waiver wire or whoever's on your team, win or go home. And we'll start looking at projected seeding after week 10. But again, we've got several 2 weeks to go before that, and lots of football. Right now you are still at a point where you could take 7 losses and still have a chance at making the playoffs. No one is officially eliminated yet. Dustin, you're on the cuff. That could happen. So you do not want to get to 7 losses. You cannot take 8 losses, but there it is, guys. And have yourself a great week, a spectacular week, a safe week while you're out there. Shout out to David Vaughn, who always, makes us happen every week. If you like what you see, give him some work. And, good luck, everybody, unless your name is Luke Gilbertson. And you, sir, get your cheesy Wisconsin Badger ass off my lawn. Peace out.